Write this down. Anything that happened to you that you cannot change, or that you could not have changed, or didn't have power over, they are linked to your purpose. I'm going to say that again. Everything about you that you cannot change, that you have no power over, they are linked to your purpose.
And I guess we've kind of explained a little bit about the next question, and as to when it comes to getting to your source. And I wanted you to go a bit deeper into that. And that is, a lot of people are asking themselves, right, I found my source, but what is next? What do I do? I now know where my purpose comes from. I know the source. But what is next? What must I now do in order to discover this purpose?
This purpose. This will help somebody. This will set someone free. See, God showed me 6 places to look to discover your purpose. 6 places to look. And all of them have something to do with God. All of them. So I'm not telling you this like many motivational speakers in the thought leadership industry. Some of my colleagues will tell you, go and carve out your own purpose and find your own truths and all of those rubbish. No, what I'm about to share with you will change your life. It is also connected to your source. See, 6 places to look to discover your purpose. You will never forget this that I'm sharing with you. Number 1 is to look up. When I say look up, I mean looking straight to God, your source, your manufacturer. We've established that already. He's your source. He's the one that has thought about you long and hard enough and had some intentions before creating you. When you go straight to God and you say, Lord, why have you created me? Like you literally go to God. Why? What were the thoughts you had before you created me? Number 2 place to look is to look within. Derek, within every single human being, are gifts. Gifts are things you did not work for. Gifts are things you did not pray for. Gifts are things that were inbuilt inside of you way before you were born. For some people, theirs is singing. For some people, theirs is writing. For some people, theirs is speaking. For some people, theirs is football. There is something you do that is a gift. You do it so with passion, with energy, with joy. And you can do it without being paid. You will literally do it from morning to night if nobody pays you. That is your gift. See, that is not ordinary. God gave you those gifts to do something in particular. He gave you that gift of speaking, of writing, of cooking, of playing football for something, for a specific purpose in particular. So when you look within you and find those things, you could get the cues to your purpose. Another thing to look within for is what I call your temperaments. See, temperaments are a combination of traits of your parents, right? Your mother and father. This is why I was telling you the other time, your parents were just actors in a script. I'm a sanguine, I'm a sanko, right? My dad is a sanguine, my mom is a choleric, right? The 2 of them came together to make me a sanko, all right? And because of that, a sanguine is the life of the party, someone who with high energy. That's why I have so much high energy. Like literally, we could do this live stream till next year and I'll still be talking. We'll just be eating in between. Okay? Because that is my personality, that's my temperament. I've been built that way to serve you. I've been built that way to serve my generation. I've been built that way to impact my generation. The same way you two were built in a certain way with some features, with some talents, with some gifts to serve your generation, to serve your world, and even generations after. So you need to find out the things that are within you. Let's move on. And next place to look is to look around you. See, around you are problems that are always calling out your name. It's like they're always shouting, Derek, 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 Derek. I know Derek is passionate about people discovering their potential and maximizing. Every time you see a young guy or a young lady that is just living life recklessly, I'm sure it angers you. It gets you angry. Like, how can you not have a purpose in life? How can you be? The same thing for me. Whenever I see people who are just walking aimlessly, wandering aimlessly through life, I'm like, another thing is when I hear people are depressed or maybe they just committed suicide. That's why you see me write about suicide a lot. It grieves me in my spirit. But sometimes it's like my soul weeps for them. Why? Because something has been put inside of you to solve that problem. See, that's why I said there are problems around you that are always calling out your name. In fact, you take those problems personally. They become personal. Like for instance, you could be watching us right now and you just hate to see kids. Kids not wearing clothes around you, or kids who are orphans, who just walk around the street around you. And it will grieve you. And you take it so personal. You start to tell your friends, can you imagine? What's the government doing about those kids? Do you know why? And your friends will be like, excuse me, why is it your problem? And you're like, no, it's my problem. It's my problem. You know why it's your problem? You know why you're taking it personal? It's because there's something inside of you to solve the problem. So when you look around you for those problems that are constantly calling out your name and they will never go away, it is a cue for you that is linked to your purpose. Another place to look is to look down. Down refers to the down moments of your life.
Wow.
Times that your story, absolutely, your story.
Wow.
Things that have happened in your life that you're not proud of. Listen, they happen because of where God is taking you. They happen because of, hear this, your story is your glory. God is not a waster of experiences. Everything that has happened to you negatively were allowed to happen to you. You needed to go through them because of the people you will bring through them. I'm going to say that again because I sense somebody did not get it. There are some things you've been through or you're currently going through that is linked to your purpose. In fact, let me shock you by saying this statement. And if you're watching this later, very linked to your purpose. Whether you were molested when you were young, or you were raped when you were young, or you failed multiple times like I did. I failed twice. I repeated the whole year twice, and I still finished PhD at the age of 26. You know why God allowed that to happen? He allowed it to happen because of the people that I'm going to meet who would have failed many times. And because they failed, they are trying to give up, and God will bring me their way, and I will tell them, listen, your failure is part of your purpose. All you need to do is find your purpose, and your failures will make sense. Oh, somebody will be saying, Dr. Samuel, how do you know this? The Bible says in the book of Romans chapter 8, verse 20, it says, and we know. Somebody say, and we know. And we know means you need to know. You need to know. And we know. That's why I don't like to rush to read scriptures. I love to read them one by one. And we know that all things work together for good, for those who love God. And listen, Derek, and are called according to his purpose. Oh my God. The simple explanation of that scripture is the day you discover your purpose, your failures, your molestations and harassment, everything will work together. Oh. You know the meaning of the word work together. Derek, let me explain what work together means, right? What's your favorite soup? What do you like? What's your favorite soup?
Peanut soup.
Peanut soup, aha. When we say something is working together, if you take ordinary peanuts and you start to eat peanuts alone, you will never give you the taste of the soup. Am I correct? If you start to take water and take each of the ingredients one by one and you put them in your mouth one by one, put pepper in your mouth, put peanut, put water, it will not, like, that's rubbish, right? You probably end up. But listen, work together means when you grind the peanut soup, the peanut itself, and you literally blend the pepper, and you put the water, and you put the pot on the stove, and you put the water on stove, and you boil it for a while, and you add the oil, and then after adding the oil, you put the salt. After putting the salt, you put the blended pepper, and you put everything together. And then you let it simmer on the stove. And then when it's done with that sweet smelling aroma, listen, if you had tasted the salt alone, you would have spitted it out of your mouth. If you tasted the pepper alone, you would have spitted it out of your mouth. If you tasted all of those things alone, they will make no sense. But when God decides to put your failure, your agony, your pain, your shame, your reproach, every single thing that you've been through, and He decides to put them together in a pot and decides to cook them for a while and let them simmer, and at a degree Celsius that is not necessarily palatable to you, but by the time he is done, your life begins to have this sweet aroma. And when He gives you out of it to taste, and you're like, wow, can my failures, my pain be ingredients of a delicious future? Not only that, He will now give it to other people to taste as well. Do you catch that? Do
Yes.
you catch that?
Yes, sir.
Your failures are now feeding other people. Your reproach is now feeding other people, feeding generations. But it was not just the failure alone. It combined everything together. That's what it means by, and we know that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. When you find your purpose, everything you've been through, even your down moments, will work together. Because of time, next place to look is to look back. Down and back are almost similar, but back does not necessarily mean negative. There are some positive things that have happened to you in your past that are still connected to your purpose. See, when I was growing up, to the glory of God, my parents would play the VHS, right, which is more like the video CD, right? And the only thing my parents would play were TD Jakes, Reinhard Bonnke, RW Shambach, like all these great speakers. Every time I watched them, I would watch them and go, I want to be like that. I watched them so much that before the age of 11, the only thing I wanted to be was Reinhard Bonnke. To the point that when I'm not sure how it operates, where you grew up, but in Nigeria, then when you finish your common entrance to go into high school, you would have an interview. So I did an interview, and the man asked me, said, "What would you like to be in the future?" I said, "I want to be Reinhard Bonnke." Unfortunately, at that time, I was speaking to a man who was a Muslim, who had no idea who Reinhard Bonnke was. Didn't write anything down on my interview transcripts. So when everybody else were getting their own results and being posted to school, I was posted to nowhere because I wanted to be Reinhard Bonnke. So by the time my parents found out, and I went to the office and said, why is our son not posted? Why other kids are posted? They said, because your son wanted to be Reinhard Bonnke and we don't have any. We don't have anything like that. The point I'm trying to make is this. When you look into your past, look at the things that used to interest you when you were growing up. Maybe you were growing up, you loved to fix cars. Maybe when you were growing up, you just loved to speak. Maybe when you were growing up, you loved to cook. That desire that you had as a child, but people have told you to shut up. They've silenced the hero in you as a child. And because of that, you learn to live life in a normal way. What's a normal way? Normal way is get a job like everybody else, get married like everybody else, do things like everybody else, you run the rat race like everybody else. That's a life that lacks significance, a life that lacks impact. Your impact is tied to that thing, those things that interest you as a child. Somebody who's watching me right now and you're being delivered right now. I remember doing one of my purpose discovery workshop in a church. I went to a church and I was doing it. I normally do my purpose discovery workshop for a whole day. So churches would call me and they'll, I would do it for a whole day. And I met this woman. She had been painting since she was a child. And one of the teachers who really helped her and mentored her in that painting, died when she was 11. Do you know that the moment that teacher died, every other voice around her were negative about that painting? They told her, who makes money painting? What rubbish? Get a normal job. Do what other normal people do. And guess what this woman did? She listened to them. Now she's 40. At that time, when I did that was 2018, she was 40-something. Never painted since 11. Literally silenced our purpose, silenced our gift. People silenced it. And I told her, I said, ma'am, you've got to go back to it. She said she has never felt fulfilled since then. Never felt fulfilled. Somebody watching us right now, listen, they've silenced your gift enough. You need to go back to your childhood memory and begin. Please do me a favor, go back and begin to live that life of purpose. Because of time, the next place to look is to look forward. See, every human being has a vision of the ideal self, or should I say most human beings. I'm talking about the dream of your future, that thing you want to be. And right now, that thing never goes away. Even though you've been trying to pack it, no, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be a pastor. I don't want to be a pilot. I don't want to be that. No. You've been trying to shelve it away because you think it's too hard to become one. Or who makes money doing it? I remember going to preach at a place in Tasmania, Australia, and I met a woman, and she just enjoyed cooking. She enjoyed cooking. But people have told her because she's a migrant that she's got to study nursing so that she can get job security. And because of that, she wanted to do nursing. In fact, she had collected the form before I got to their church to speak that day. And when we were done, she said, "Man of God, you're speaking to me." I said, "Yes, I'm speaking to you." I said, "Woman, go and take a form for chef. It's for chef. And be a chef. And learn everything." What I did not know was that woman, she owned a restaurant in Africa and she was doing very well. But because of situations, they migrated and people told her to go and do nursing. Listen, maybe you too, you became a nurse because of what people said, because of societal pressures and parental pressure. Listen, like where we started from, remember, Derek, your parents do not determine your success. Only your source determines your. That is 6 places to look. I hope I've shared the 6 places. So we've talked about look up, look within, look down, look around, look back, and look forward. Those are the 6 places to look. If you try any of those 6, and you pay attention to the patterns of the things you're discovering, in fact, throughout the 6, I've shared my story across the 6, in my little way because of our time, you would notice that there is something that is calling out your name. And if you prayerfully go about it, you can even hire me as a coach. If you're watching this right now, you can afford my coaching. You can hire me as your coach. And we will sit down together and watch those patterns. And God will help you find that exact thing that you're supposed to be doing with your life. I hope that helps, Ted.
Wow.